So thank you, Kyesha, for joining me. Welcome to the Glam Chemist podcast. We're here to chat a little bit about you and your story and how you got involved in STEM and how you've been a part of the cosmetic science industry now and how you're kind of growing into our space. So I'm really happy to have you here and I can't wait
Thank
to
you
hear
for having
more.
me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's you have such a unique story that I think a lot of our listeners um, may really take some good tidbits out of. Um, because you are someone who started in a different space and now you're helping folks who, well, now I'm giving away the whole podcast, but we'll have you share a little bit about you and what you're doing right now because I think it's super interesting.
Okay, so I start aesthetic school next year. I'm super excited about that. And then after that, I plan on becoming a cosmetic chemist, going to school for that. My background was actually in early childhood education, but I found out quickly that that was not the path for me. Kids are not what they used to be. So, but I've always had a passion for skincare. I actually started my first skincare line when I was in high school, and I would do custom skincare products for girls who were struggling with acne because teen puberty acne is so real. And I was very strict about it. I'm like, you have to follow all the instructions that I give you, or it's not going to work. So, so I was very strict about that. And I'm so excited to be in this space because cosmetic science is very unique. It's very quiet. A lot of people don't even know about cosmetic chemists. So it's like a secret society. So I'm so excited that it found me so that I can enjoy it and fulfill it one day. So I'm so excited about that.
That's awesome. I would love to hear more about like how you decided or started your products when you were 16 because I know you're working on another line now, which our
Right.
listeners are going to hear about. But that's ambitious at 16. So what made you like even start to dabble in that?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I had an entrepreneurial spirit. I started my first massage business as a little girl because of my mom. One day I wanted to go somewhere and she didn't have the funds for it. And I told myself that will never happen again. So I started my own business. And then I started another business at 16, which was the skincare business because my mom actually made me fall in love with skincare. At 12, I was doing microdermabrasions, using anti-aging skincare. And I would go to school in middle school, and girls would be like, "What are you doing to your skin? You look amazing. Your skin looks like
That
your skin
explains
looks
a
like."
lot.
Yeah,
For our listeners, it is like I guess 9 in the morning and Kyesha looks like flawless. Like nothing has phased her this morning. Your skin is perfect. So that explains a lot that you like started preventative skincare really
yes,
early on.
yes, at 12, literally at 12. Usually kids, they play in their mom's makeup. My mom and me were doing skincare routines when I was. So, I was like, you know what? Girls are asking about skincare. I love it. I'm so passionate about it. I've been doing it for years. Why not start my own skincare line? And so, when I was 14, I started researching. I started talking to dermatologists because I did have a dermatologist. And I was like, okay, what's good? What's not good? What should I put in this skincare line for teens? I want my market audience to be teens. And he was like, "You're so young. Like, this is crazy. How do you know about market audience?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my."
I
I'm
know.
like, "Yeah, that's my."
In the years of proactive, there was Kyesha at home whipping up some good stuff for
Yes.
teenagers. I love that. That's so
Yes.
cool.
And so, the word got out when I started high school. Everybody was like, "That's the skincare girl. That's the skincare girl." And everybody loved it because teens like to be exclusive because it was customized just for them. They were like, "No, you can't have it, but you can get your own." You know?
I love that. It's like
Mhm.
the days before function of beauty and customized like products, you were already
Right.
thinking ahead. That's innovation. You've been a scientist all along. That's amazing.
And didn't even know it. Didn't even know that this world existed. So it's crazy. It's
That's so
crazy.
cool. So that actually brings us into like what you're doing now, which I think is super
Mhm.
interesting. So you do cosmetic formulation consulting, but you help beauty kitchen formulators. So can you tell me
Yes.
a little bit more about what that means and like what your client base looks like?
Okay, so let me tell you, on social media, there is a lot of misinformation, and I've been doing this for years, so I've made plenty of mistakes. And so it's so important to really like educate girls who are starting in their kitchen because so many people have started in their kitchen creating formulations. And I like to call it when you transform it into a beauty kitchen. And so I love to call it beauty kitchen formulators. And but a lot of girls do things the wrong way. And so this is why I decided to start my consultation business to help these girls get on the right track because a lot of them don't even know about the FDA. And I'm like, oh, they're labeling wrong. They're using common names instead of inky names. They're not making stable products. Girls are getting products and they're like, oh, I had to put it back in the refrigerator because it's separated. And I'm like, no, honey, that's an unstable product. You should never have to, you're already spending money getting the product. You have to do more work. No, ma'am. So things like that is the reason why I decided to start my business in the first place.
I love that you provide that resource because, most of my guests and myself and what I do for a living now is opening up space and making space for micro brands and independent beauty brands and just helping them kind of weed through those regulations, making sure that you are FDA standards, making sure that you can keep up with the L'Oreals of the world. So, when did you start doing consulting?
It's been going really well. I started about 2 years ago. Actually, I had so many girls reach out to me, and I was like, you know what? I need to really make this a business. I talked to my husband about it. I was like, babe, I have so many people, reaching out to me. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go for it because I have took a skincare and hair care formulation course from the School of Natural Skincare in UK. Their program is ran by cosmetic scientists such as Tina and Nicola. Shout out to them. They're awesome. 'Cause I feel like you need to get some level of education before you get the degree, just to familiarize yourself with it. So that's how it all started. Girls just started coming to me because it was never on my plan to start this type of business. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it.
Gotta love those virtual classes too.
Right.
I mean, clearly it was in the stars at 16. Like you were
Right.
supposed to be helping folks formulate their own skincare brands. So now you said you're working on something new. So what's the goal for this new brand?
Well, I'm so excited because this is going to be my first time selling to the world. So like huge for me because I'm so used to just doing it locally. The people, they know me. We meet in person. It's not virtual. You build relationships, their skin. I mean, you get to see the transformation. So I'm so excited to do it virtually. It's going to be very different, but I am making sure that everything is like correct, being that it is going out into the world. So I am taking my time with it. I don't plan to launch until 2023, because like I said, I want to make sure everything is precise. And, I know perfect doesn't exist, but I want it to be just right. So,
Yeah, doing your due diligence is important.
right. And being that I am going to be an esthetician, I want this to be a professional skincare brand for corrective skincare. So that's the goal that I'm going into.
I love that. Yeah,
Mm.
especially now, I think people are getting more educated on what they need and
Right.
individual corrective skincare because it's not one size fits all.
Correct.
So how did you get involved? I know that you have always kind of done your own thing when it comes to the beauty space, but how did you get involved in STEM? I think that's a unique story too. Like, how did you find out about cosmetic science?
You will never believe it. I found out about it while I was a waitress. It was this girl named Evelyn. She's actually a esthetician now. I'm so proud of her. She looks amazing. You hear me? Makeup, beat. She's just so beautiful, pretty skin. And I was just being nosy one day. I said, Evelyn, what do you want to go to school for? Because we were still really young at this time. And she was like, oh, for chemistry. And I was like, what? I was like, Evelyn, you're like a beauty girl. Why do you want to go to school for chemistry? I was so confused. She was like, they teach you how to make makeup and stuff. It's like cosmetic chemistry. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I've never heard of that. And so she was like, yeah. And so it was so funny because something in my spirit said, you need to research this. Remember this moment, save it. And I actually forgot about it. And then right. And then a year later, another girl came into my life and she mentioned it, but this time for skincare. And I was like, oh my God, I was supposed to do research on this. And so I went home, immediately did research, and I found out that cosmetic chemists make medicine, they make drugs, they make skincare, hair care. It was like I unlocked a whole new world, and I was so excited and intrigued. And I started doing deeper and deeper and deeper research. Yes, found out about Perry Romanowski, Belinda Carly. Oh my gosh, I love those two. Learned so much from those two. Oh my goodness, amazing. And then on Instagram, finding girls like Cindy J, Rachel Johnson, April Bassey, my favorite. Oh my goodness, Tanya, you have to have her on your show. Love her, learned so much from her. It's just so amazing to find all these women who are just thriving in this world that is just so secretive. But I'm like, okay, y'all giving us keys, you with this podcast. I'm just so honored.
Oh, of course. Like the most interesting thing about having all these conversations has been how generous everyone's been with their time and how like kind. I mentioned this in an episode where we are technically in the same industry and we are essentially competitors, but not really. But the fact that we see each other as women in this space and then women of color in this space, we're just like opening up chairs. It's more about having folks be a part of the community so that there's more of us as opposed to it being like a competitive space. So we're all about like sharing the information, elevating the community, and sharing as much of what we love with others so that they can get encouraged to do it too. That's the other thing for young folks listening to the podcast is if you're interested in this industry, there's so many resources before you even get to your college experience that you can
Right.
start like learning things, making your DIY lip balms. Like you can learn so much from the resources that we have for free in our industry. Like obviously you've benefited from them. But yeah, it's awesome that you're joining us. I'm so excited for you to be a part of the STEM group, the glam
Love it.
chemists.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I love that. I think I honestly, your story is so unique and so cool to me because you just fell in love with the space and you found your way and found your own path in it, which I think is so like admirable. I want to talk a little bit more about your consulting services. Like, what is it that you provide to these folks?
Okay, so I let them know, hey, you can go about this three ways. Do you want me to help you formulate in your beauty kitchen? Do you want to do private label, white label, or do you want to do contract manufacturing? It all depends on their budget. And so I do recommend labs and referrals, so if you have one, let me know. Consultation services from cosmetic chemists, for hair care, skincare. So I'm basically like the middle person, just really helping women make more money, but they know what they're doing, professionals really just connecting people with the right person. It's all about networking. Everybody's growing, everybody's glowing, everybody's getting, what they need and what they love to do. So basically, just it's hard to kind of know where to start at, letting them know like, hey, you got to have your legal ducks in the row. I'm teaching them about FDA regulations, labeling correct, all of these things that needs to be done, and then connecting them with the right people that can take them further if they want, their products made by somebody else, letting them know where they can go for testing because testing is so important. So many people make products and do not test it. I'm like, that is the quickest way you can get sued. Lawsuits are real. I'm letting them know. Yes, like a lot of people don't understand, letting them know about the natural preservatives do not preserve everything.
Fascinated by how much you know. Like honestly, we do the same thing. So I am a product development chemist. I started in R&D. I have a degree in chemistry, but what I really do is help people through the product development process like you do and connect them with folks for things that I may not be able to provide the resources for, but most of it is just the education portion, helping them build out their brand. So I just find it so interesting that like you do what I do and like you're really good at it. I can tell by your tone and what you're describing because you know your stuff, which is great because like you said, it's really hard for small brands, especially like kitchen starters, knowing where to start because you can be batching something forever. And yes, it's effective and people like it. But when you go to mass produce, like there's so many intricacies to it. And like you said, lawsuits are real and recalls are real.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's another thing. A lot of them don't even know about a recall policy. I'm like, honey, you have to have one in place, batch code, so what batch needs to be recalled. All these things are important, and they don't know these things.
And it's cool that you provide that like education too, because you're saving them money at the end. You're saving
Right.
them any expense or any hardship, because the worst thing in the world is, starting a brand and like getting a cease and desist because you named it something weird, or, having a
Mhm.
recall because it's unstable on the shelf. And that's something that folks don't really learn until they kind of fall into the mistake
Right. And a
and it
lot of them
costs
make
them
drug
money.
claims.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can't. Yeah, it's a
That could
whole
get
other
it less than
conversation.
time. Right. That's an hour long
Yeah.
conversation.
Hiring a proper copy person and like not writing your own copy. Or if you are writing your own copy, just be careful about what goes on the label and then what goes on the website. There's only
Right.
so many things that can go on the label.
Yes, because you're responsible for reviews too, so when they make drug claims, you have to, okay, I gotta delete this because, okay, like, you have to be careful with all of that. Monitoring is so important.
It's such an amazing service that you provide. So are you working with folks more locally, or have you opened up your services like throughout the country, or how's that business?
Completely online, completely online, completely online. So, because I have girls coming to me from each and everywhere.
So how can people find your services? Like how can folks reach out to you if you're taking on new clients or
Yes, I'm actually getting a website build. I've been doing everything through email, and I send them PDFs, and we schedule like videos where we can talk in person. Well, not in person, but you know what I mean, virtually. So, but I am working on building a website so that more girls can come and sign up, and I can have a waiting list. Because right now I'm working with about 10 girls.
wow, that's a big
Mhm.
client list. That's good. God bless. That's amazing. That's a good career you got going for you.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So tell the listeners about why it's important to work with a consultant when developing your beauty brand, whether you're, a micro brand, a kitchen grown brand, or like an indie brand. Why do you think it's important for them to find a resource similar to yours, or one like Cindy J's, or one like myself? What's the benefit overall? I think we've addressed it a couple times, but like what advice would you give a client?
It saves you time and money. Because if you're trying to do everything on your own and you don't know where to start, you're going to spend so much money. For example, there's this girl named Gabrielle from BC Labs, and she did a video. She's another good guest you can have too. Girl from BC Labs, and she was like, y'all, please invest in a mentor or a consultant, because the amount of money that I've wasted just trying to learn it on my own was ridiculous, And so, I mean, I don't even need to say anything else. Who doesn't want to save money? Okay. Let somebody do the hard work for you, because you're trying to figure out on your own. Like for example, you're formulating a shampoo and you're trying to put anionic and cationic ingredients together and it's not working. You're like, what is going on? Well, if you paid somebody who knows that you can't put those two together, except for a very few cationic ingredients, pardon me, it would save you so much money. so,
And
so
yeah, an entrepreneur's time is the most valuable thing too. So you don't want to keep
yes.
formulating in circles and then never getting to your goal. So yeah, I completely agree. I think that's a great, along with everything that we discussed, I think that also is a really good point to say, like, just trust folks that might know a little bit better than you. And luckily for them, I know my service is super customizable. I'm happy to help folks at any budget. And I know you mentioned that you're accommodating to folks in any budget so that you can help them find their resources. So for listeners that are starting their own brands and like, really don't know where to start, if anything, this is like your kind of guideline and blueprint to just find folks in the space that are accommodating to you and your brand, have all of the knowledge and information, trust that they know they're going to protect the integrity of your formula, but they're going to help enhance it so that it's regulatory standards and it meets regulatory standards. You have so much knowledge. I'm so excited for you to go study and get involved in STEM further, because you have so much understanding that, some folks in the industry don't have. So you're already ahead of the game, and I'm so excited to see like what else you end up doing. So you're now starting your own brand, you're starting another brand, and you're developing your own business, and you're also an entrepreneur in your own right by being a consultant. what kind of advice would you give someone who's starting their own skincare brand?
Learn everything. I cannot stress that enough. Learn the art, learn the business, learn the science. A lot of people that get started doing a skincare brand, they focus all their attention on product development and they neglect the business side. The business side is the heartbeat of your business. Without it, it's going to die. You need to get your business ducks in a row. It's so important, that's like the heartbeat of your business. Learn the art, learn science, learn everything. I'm learning chemistry right now. I have so many chemistry books and I'm learning the bonds and learning how these ingredients work.
Yeah, you just snapped cationic and anionic at me, and I was like, taking me back to school.
Yes, honey. I'm learning those things because I want to know I take my craft very seriously. I want to know everything. And when I do get to a point where my business has outgrown me and I'm moving into founder position, if somebody calls me and they're like, hey, the accountant quit, I want to know how to be able to work those books myself because until I can hire somebody else, I need to know how everything is operating in my business because I'm held responsible for it, and so learn every single thing before you start. I cannot mention that enough. It's so important to know what you are getting yourself into because if things pop up, you won't be looking like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I got a cease and desist letter. What am I supposed to do? It's tax time and you're looking crazy. I didn't save anything. These are things you need to know.
That's admirable because, I myself, I feel like I'm learning financial literacy through my business because it's something that I didn't know before. I had I had a weird relationship with abundance. I had a degree, I had money, and I just kind of like spent it on my business, but I wasn't thinking about, my business plan and my fiscal year and all those things. So yeah, that's great advice because it was an afterthought when I developed my company. And you should have, exactly like you said, all your ducks in a row before you really pull the trigger on anything. And I think folks tend to like, I found packaging on Amazon and I found this, and then they like whip it up, put it on a website or sell
Oh
it on a
my gosh.
counter.
Genesis, I'm so happy you said that. Please do not buy cosmetic ingredients on Amazon. Please don't. If you don't hear anything else in this podcast, please hear that. Do not buy cosmetic ingredients. Pay the fee, okay? I know it's cheaper, but it will save you, okay? Please.
Yeah. I think a little tidbit for folks who are not part of the industry, most folks that sell via eBay or Amazon are redistributors of the goods. So like you really don't know how it's repackaged or what's in it when you finally get it because they purchase it in bulk and then break it down into smaller quantities. And there are some really legitimate businesses that do that already, and they're just slightly more expensive, or there's different minimum order quantities, or there's a different timeline for it. But you can trust and believe that the SDS sheet, which is a data sheet for the materials,
Yes.
will be exactly what you receive, which goes right along with an episode that we had about misconceptions in beauty. If you really don't trust what may be in your product, kind of look to the resources and look to see where they source some of the things, because repackaging, folks, like I mentioned, you really don't know what's in it and you don't know what level it is.
Look, Genesis, true story. True story. I was at Ulta and this lady was dumpster diving. And I was like, what is she doing? Because she was getting all of the beauty products that they threw away out of the dumpster. And she was like, oh, I sell on Amazon. I just clean them up and I sell them. And I'm like,
oh no. Guys, also bacteria is a thing. No matter how sealed and packaged it is, if it's after the expiration date, it's still bacteria. Like there's a reason why there's an expiration date.
I'm like, oh my God. Throw away things that people bring back. And so literally like
I mean, get your business, but like not like that. Like, no, thank you.
You have to be careful getting things off of Amazon, okay?
Well, that's another little anecdote to remember. Be mindful of who you're purchasing from on Amazon.
Yes, please be mindful.
But yeah, I think that your advice is is great. I think I wish I had taken that advice or received it sooner. You know, I'm one of the first entrepreneurs in my family, so I really am figuring it out by myself, and a lot of it is just educating myself like you're doing. And I know folks, you know, can get easily overwhelmed with all of like the little, like, you know, even keeping your ledger together is a stressful time, and
Right.
getting a website up is a stressful time. So like you
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, finding folks that can kind of guide you through that development process too might be helpful, because then, you know, you won't miss anything in the process, and you
Right.
have an extra set of eyes on certain things too, which is helpful. So what do you see for your consulting company? Like, what do you see happening for you before your launch? I feel like you've got a lot going on.
I'm just so excited, just really, educating more beauty kitchen formulators on the right way to go. Watching them grow just brings my heart so much joy. Like, oh, they did it, because it takes forever to launch. It's such an exciting but stressful journey. So any way that I can make it less stressful, I'm there.
I love your energy. I love that that's what you're about. It's so good.
Thank you, Queen.
I'm so glad. I honestly am so glad that you're on the podcast, and I'm so glad that we've been able to connect at the very least. I want to keep building this space and have, you know, everyone maybe hopefully meet up, even if it's virtually. I think everyone's going to get
Yes.
along really well too. I want to talk a little bit about your platform and how you use social media for like client outreach or education purposes. Obviously, I met you through social media. So
Right.
I've already like, I feel like I already know you. But how do you think that that's like helped you grow your business?
Well, on Instagram, I especially started getting more eyes on my channel, pardon me, not my channel, my page, when I did the seven deadly sins that formulators shouldn't do. Because a lot of the things that I put in those posts, girls did not know, especially the body butter one. Girls were DMing me like, "Oh my God, how can you help me like make it more stable? Because my stuff separates." And I tell them to put it in the refrigerator. I'm guilty.
That's when you need emulsifiers, guys.
Right, right. I said a lot of things in those posts that people were just like, oh my goodness, I'm guilty of. It's so crazy because a lot of people didn't like it, but a lot of people did see it. And, they were just like, oh my goodness, I'm guilty of it. Yeah, so I think it's just moments like that where I'm really spilling like true information, just like, okay, it's gonna hurt, but you need to hear it.
It comes from I think, who said that? Rachel Johnson. It comes from a place of love. I'm telling you this because I want you to succeed.
Right. That's tough love.
So I want to ask you, what kind of opportunities has this brought now that you're sharing education online, and obviously you're able to provide your resources, but like aside from the podcast, what else have you been able to participate in?
Just really just getting to know more people in the industry. That's been working out really well. Like I said, meeting girls who just want to do their skincare brand, hair care brand the right way, networking, collaborating. I've done a few other lives, educating girls about skincare formulation and hair care formulation. It's so amazing just really meeting new people. It's really just blessed me like, oh my goodness, this is so many people are interested in this and they just don't know where to start. That's all a business is, finding a problem and you have the solution. So I'm so happy to help.
I'm so excited for you. I love, honestly, I love your energy. I love what you're about. I love that you're encouraging folks to do things the smart way and helping them build in beauty, because like I said, the reason for this platform is just to kind of have a community of folks and share information for folks who may not have it. But I have two more questions for you. So, questions I ask all of my guests. Usually this is the part where like I get the most information I need to hear. This is the part where like you guys take me to church. So my first question is, what's the best piece of advice you could give your younger self?
Girl, take your time. Everything is going to come together. I think that we are so worried about, oh my goodness, this person is there and I'm not there yet. Enjoy your journey. Focus on your journey. You are where you are supposed to be. Learn, love, and live. So just enjoy where you are right now. We're so worried about the future. We're so worried about, oh my goodness, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to get to where I need to be? Enjoy where you are right now. Because if you don't, you'll miss the blessing. You got to wake up and say, I am blessed and I'm enjoying where I am right now. Be grateful for where you are right now.
I love that. See, you take me to church. It's always the message. Every time I do one of these, I'm like, it's the message that the universe and God are trying to tell me. So this has been very therapeutic for me too. Because I'm like, you guys are, the folks that I've been chatting with are like such confident entrepreneurs and such like independent people in their own right. And I'm here just trying to learn to get there and feel good about my business too. So I think that's a
And
great piece
listen,
of
the
advice.
beauty is in learning. The beauty is in
Yeah.
learning. So it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I have to be able to find peace in that time. I'm
Mhm.
struggling with being comfortable with the time that's like I
Mhm.
look at the goal and I look at the end line, but I'm missing all of the stuff in between. So taking that beat like you mentioned and just like enjoying this
Right.
experience, enjoying where I am today is something that I have to really work on. So I
Right.
think that's
We get so stressed we forget to enjoy what we love doing. Like enjoy
yeah.
it. Enjoy it, honey. Enjoy it. It's such a beautiful time that you're in. Enjoy it.
I love that. I hope someone
Mhm.
else enjoys that too. I needed that. The other thing is, what's the best piece of professional advice that you still live by?
Dot all your I's and cross all your T's, and you won't be sorry in the future. That is the best advice that I've ever received, and I still live that by today.
Yeah,
I love it.
I hear it in the advice you give. Like make sure
Mhm.
you make sure you cover everything and make sure that you've got like a handle on everything. Well, I totally appreciated talking to you. I can't wait to talk to you again. Honestly, you're more than welcome to join us at any time if you have another
Thank
topic or
you.
if there's something that you want to launch with us. I'm happy to share. Do you want to tell folks where to find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Kyesha Knows Skin.
Yeah. And soon a website. Very soon.
Yes, yes, and soon a website. I'll launch all that on there as well, so y'all know.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us. I really love chatting with you and I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you for having me, Genesis. I had so much fun talking with you.
Hey listeners, welcome back to the Glam Chemist. I appreciate you guys joining us here every week for a new interview and a new conversation with someone in the beauty industry. You guys have been so supportive and so kind, and I see that there's so many more of you, which is really exciting. I wanted to let you know that the Glam Chemist podcast is now accepting private sponsorships. So if you have a company or a brand that you would like for us to feature and add in one of our episodes, please feel free to email us at theglamchemist@gmail.com or slide in our DMs. We're happy to chat with you. Thanks again for listening. We really appreciate you being part of our growth. We hope to see you at the next one.